Hi there, welcome to Bible Slash Chat. Jason, what's a damsel?
In distress.
Oh!
A darnel is a tear.
So Jason used the wrong word for the weed
I can't
on the
read.
one that you just maybe potentially just listened to about the tares among the wheat.
Yeah.
Which are not damsels.
Nope.
That's a word for a girl.
And another plant too somewhere.
Yeah, and when you said it, I wanted
Mongolia.
to contradict, but then I thought I should never contradict
No,
Jason. He
no,
always
no.
knows better than I do. But then there was that moment
This
where I was
wasn't-
like, wait a minute, that can't be right.
And you were right.
But it was true.
You know what it was? My eyes weren't seeing properly.
So what is the tear word?
Darnel.
Darnel.
Darnel. Yeah.
Darnel.
Yeah.
Okay. So good. So weeds are darnels, not damsels. Girls are not weeds. That's a harsh thing to say, Jason. What kind of misogynistic? I'm just kidding. No,
I'm
just
not.
teasing.
I'm complimentarian.
Exactly. Good. Very good. All right. So we're walking through the parables. So the next one.
The next one is a mustard seed.
Yeah.
So proverbial for the smallest seed in that area, right?
Yeah.
Jesus uses it to talk about faith like a mustard seed, stuff like that. So what's the kingdom connection here?
Yeah. Okay. So the last two. These are the last two. Actually, the mustard seed.
Oh, the leaven is the next one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
31 through 33. The last two that he gives to the crowds.
Right, before.
Because then in 36, it says he leaves the crowds, goes into the house, talks to his disciples. So everything after that, the hidden treasure, the costly pearl, and the dragnet are all given to the disciples.
Right.
So the mustard seed and leaven are hard parables because there's not that much that's really said about
He doesn't
them.
explain it.
Yeah, he doesn't explain it. He never explains it to the disciples.
Yeah.
And he says the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, the smallest of all the seeds, which isn't actually true. But I think what he's saying is the very tiny seed.
Yeah.
Then it says when it's full grown, it's larger than the garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and nest in its branches. Right. So very interesting little analysis there. So. What is that? What's going on there? And then another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 pecks of flour until it was all leavened.
Right.
What you have in these two parables is a picture of small to great.
Yeah.
Right.
In both.
Leaven is a small amount. You know, we make bread at home sometimes, and when we make
you
bread,
leaven it.
Yeah, you leaven it. You use a quarter teaspoon of yeast, which is just like tiny, and 4 cups of flour, and you get this, and it just expands. Exponentially.
That's cool.
Yeah, the whole idea is like very small seed, very small amount of leaven, but it creates something that's pervasive.
Right.
And I think the point here is not necessarily like people have tried to connect this back to Daniel and future things, all that stuff. I think what he's saying is not that. I think what he's saying is the kingdom of heaven is a small thing. It starts small.
Yeah.
Just 12 disciples, very, very small groups of people. You know, Jesus' ministry at times was to 20,000, and after his death, he's only got 120 people who are probably true followers in the upper room in Acts.
Yeah.
So it's a small group of people, and yet it becomes something that's massively pervasive. I think what he's saying is over the course of time, the gospel just continues to spread, continues to permeate all parts of society, all areas. And it's continuing to do that, right? Even in our day, you know, we see the gospel continuing to permeate into different areas, different parts of the world. Yeah. So I think that's more the issue. So small to great is really just what he's saying in those parables, which we've watched over the course of church history. We've watched that happen.
Of course we have.
120 to now being really a massive thing.
Yeah.
And not only just that there's so much, but that it is pervasive. It's everywhere. It's not
everywhere.
necessarily the numbers. It's just the pervasiveness of it.
So starting from small, spreads out.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. Yeah. Do you and like you can't necessarily see it immediately, but it happens.
But it's happening.
Yeah.
It's moving slowly. Yeah,
Meets among the tares.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. I mean, that's really it. And I mean, even Paul talks about that too, right? The gospel is moving.
Colossians.
It's having its work. Yeah.
Yep.
So
absolutely. So, what about people who want to use this to teach universalism?
So
I don't know if anyone does it, just made that up on the spot.
I think probably more. I mean, I mean, that's obviously he's not. Saying,
everybody's coming. All the birds will nest in the branches.
Yeah, I think that idea there, if you look at the Old Testament references to that, is actually more about the nations coming to the kingdom.
Exactly.
So there he's talking about inclusion of the
Gentile
Gentiles
salvation.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than universal salvation, he's saying there are people from all tribes and tongues and peoples who are going to come into the kingdom, which. Of course, we expect that, and then it's confirmed for us in Revelation 5.
So good.
But what I would say, the one thing that I think can sort of cause people maybe some issue here is the issue of post-millennialism. Like the pervasiveness of the kingdom will continue to increase until like Jesus comes, right? Until we've ushered in the kingdom by the pervasiveness of the kingdom.
Yeah, so golden age is coming, or like a progressive golden age.
And it's our job to get there by what we do and how we share the gospel and those kinds of things. I think that's a misunderstanding of what's being said here. Yeah, that's really reaching in terms of what the text is actually saying. The text is actually relatively simple. It doesn't give us a lot of clarity. It's just small to great.
True.
But the greatness of the kingdom is not in the fact that we usher in a kingdom through our
actually
actions.
Not. Yeah.
The greatness of the kingdom is that it is everywhere. That it
without
covers everywhere.
necessarily all of us doing
exactly,
you know.
and not even being seen. He doesn't say the leaven turns all the flour into leaven.
That's true.
It just leavens everywhere, so it fills places.
Yeah.
So I think it would be I think if we just read the mustard seed parable by itself, we might say, well, maybe that does kind of teach a post-millennial view.
Right.
But the leaven definitely doesn't, and the fact that they're abutted up against each other and then not ever explained, I think shows us that they should be taken together.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is helpful to even like what you're saying about how to interpret them, because you can I think the tendency is to over-interpret
for sure
these things, because there is so little and there's stories.
Yeah.
So then you're like, well, you start reading into stuff rather
maybe
than
the seed and it's mustard and maybe God wants us to all this stuff
instead of restraint.
We want to be restrained and just let them speak in what they actually say, as opposed to trying to like expand them out.
So helpful. Thank you. Very good.
Totally, absolutely. Well, thanks.
Yep.
Do you ever go to your backyard and pull out darnels?
No damsels only.
Oh, shoot. Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much. And hopefully you'll listen to the next one as well. Thanks.